Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good day, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests. First of all, I'd like to thank for the opportunity from Lucy and also from our partners here in Korea, like Kotra and Seoul University and so on. We'd like to share some of our experience and what we have done and what we are going to do. And probably if you're referring to the earlier presentation, I think I'm going to address a bit different perspective. At least you can see much less of slides of photos, of beautiful photos. They're more like a pointers and the scheme, but hopefully it's not really boring you for this entirely last session today. So, this is the context that I'd like to share. First of all, we want to share with you not only on the technology side, but actually we want to share with you how the sustainability can be promoted from the PPP street lighting projects that has been done in one of our municipality in Madiun, who is also here actually last year. And I'm going to say also that we have some more of that based on that successful case. And hopefully this can also give some insights to you, and we can learn many things from not only from the technology side, but also the kind of support, the kind of network that we can collaborate further for promoting this. I also would like to say how the innovation can also be endorsed through these projects, although later you can see that the size of the project is rather small. We call it as a small-scale projects, PPP, but we have around 500 municipalities and cities in Indonesia. And it brings not only opportunities to private sector, but also some platform to the governments on how we can promote sustainable financing, fiscally, also from the perspective of government, and also in a policy and risk perspective. This is something that we also learn from Korean government on how to implement PPP here. And I think our role as this Indonesia Infrastructure Guarantee Fund, or PT Penjaminan Infrastruktur Indonesia, as part of the government institution, can help us to achieve that goal. So in the first part, let me start with how we define our needs for infrastructure development. We need to accelerate that badly, so that we have several sectors. The one in the left-hand side, there are at least 19 or 20 sectors that we need to develop, not only economic infrastructure, but also social infrastructures. The infrastructure funding gap is also huge, and I think economically we need infrastructure to support that. And in terms of those related to the street lighting, you can see how we define it as one of the sector that promotes energy conservation, and also how this can be placed also as one of the sector related to urban facility, and somehow it can promote tourism, and somehow it can also be implemented in the context of sport and arts facility, as we learned from the previous speakers. The bottom half of the slide mentioned about how is the platform for government support to implement this. And this is actually has been established at least around 15 years ago or 13 years ago by establishing some of the support according to the project stage, because as we know how to implement projects, we need to prepare that well. For the project preparation, the government has developed project development facilities, and IIGF has been one of the agency that can be assigned to implement that. not only as the guarantor that can address the one in the right-hand side to address the issue of bankability, because we need to attract private financing. So this is how we address the risk allocation issues, to address the project viability, technical, financial, and legal things. So this is something that we are doing as part of our mandate. We have to also to notice that the land acquisition has been one of the obstacles in implementing infrastructure, and the government has been establishing one of the agency to address that issue. Next, a bit deeper on the IGF. So IGF is mainly the fiscal tool of the government of Indonesia. It works under the Ministry of Finance, and we have several mandates, mainly to provide sovereign guarantee. So as part of the government guarantee policy of Republic of Indonesia, we are established around 13 years ago. And then we have second mandate, which is actually the one that I mentioned earlier. We can be assigned to conduct the project development facility. So it brings us the end-to-end support, because when you do project development, you come in the early stage of the project, and as a guarantor, you're not only focusing on how the project can sign a contract, the cooperation contract, but also can be sustainable in delivering its services under implementation stage, or i.e., operation and maintenance stage. So that's how we actually has been longest partner of the government, because we are there. Probably we can imagine like a relationship of husband and wife, because in this kind of marriage, we are taking quite longer time to be together with the government contracting agency. And in terms of the guarantee mandate, we not only been assigned for the PPP projects, but also for the other national program of the government, including the last time for the national economic recovery during the pandemic of COVID. So this has been getting us much stronger in terms of capacity, technically and also financially. So this is something that we are actually aim to support more for our projects in the future. A bit on how the value of our guarantee. We can see the context of 3 different layers. First of all, in the bottom, as a financing enabler. Hopefully with the guarantee, the financier, the lenders, and also the investors can feel more comfortable to invest in the long term, because infrastructure investment is a long relationship, like a marathon. So in this context, we can provide project guarantee and credit guarantee, and it is hoped by our guarantee, it can increase the rating of the project, lower the cost of fund, and also longer the tenor of the financing. In the context of project enabler, we help the government, especially the government contracting agency, in developing their project, preparing and doing transaction, so that the PPP documentation can be credible. And also in the context of ecosystem enabler, we have several instruments to enable our stakeholders. For instance, like the one that we have today, we have several colleagues from municipal governments of Indonesia, from East Java government and some municipalities, including Madiun. We bring them here in the context of capacity building and also getting some international exposure for implementing this kind of project in the future. And some of them are actually doing it right now. Just depicting on how we are doing those roles. So in total, for instance, in providing the guarantee to PPPs, it's already given to at least 31 projects in different scale. The biggest one, we have a scale of around 4 billion project, is one IPP project. And the smallest one is the Madiun. It's around $6.7 million project. So in the context of Project Enabler, we have also been assigned 16 projects as the PDF implementer. And for Ecosystem Enabler, we have actually a platform consisting around 36 national universities in Indonesia, which promoting infrastructure development. We call it UNIID, University Network for Indonesia Infrastructure Development. And it has been established since 2013, so it's already been 10 years. And we have many activities, including research, outreach advocacy, policy recommendation, and also capacity building and training program. We're actually the one that globally certified for doing PPP certification, endorsed by the multilaterals through APMG. So this is the one that I mentioned earlier. We have this IIGF Institute. It acts as a think tank to us, and this has been doing quite many roles, as you can see here. And also how we are doing the outreach for Ecosystem Enabler. We are having some kind of platforms, and somehow just last month, I think we just awarded the PPP Agency of the Year in Asia Pacific by the Asset in Hong Kong. And some of the awards that we have also gained, and this has been motivating us more to doing our mandate. Enough for the IGF, then we go to the PPP and how the street lighting context can be fall into our discussion. This is the project showcase that has been presented last year. And just want to update you here that the project has been in operation just last August. The government contracting agency is the Madiun region, and the concession period is 10 years. And we are providing government guarantee to this project. And the government investment return scheme is doing the availability payment. So from the fiscal space that has been provided through the electricity tax that's gained from the users, this creates certain fiscal capacity to the municipality so that it can implement the PPP. And we have the investor and the lenders, actually they're local players. And as we discuss further, there are some more opportunities which come in a different level of scale. So in terms of the smart lighting system, I think it's more appropriate for the larger scale of project, and we have that kind of project as well. But most of our projects in this kind of scale, it's more on the energy efficiency smart or street lighting, not the smart one, because they aim more on a cost saving and how to increase the services in terms of providing street lighting. The one in the yellow box, oh sorry. Here, trying to depict you, sorry if it's too small. This is the kind of scheme for the PPP transaction that we are typically doing, and this is the specific one for the Madiun city, the Madiun region. The blue box is the government contracting agency, the Madiun region. The green one is the SPV, consists of the investor and the lenders. And we come as a third party providing guarantees, and we have other agreements. We call it guarantee agreement with the SPV, and we have the recourse agreement with the government. So with this triangle of agreement, somehow it has been proven that the investors and lenders are comfortable with this kind of structure, and we are looking for more kind of project in different sectors supported by this kind of structure. I should say here that the key success factor for this kind of project, I think the presence of Pak Kurnia and his team from Madiun shows you that there should be a top leader's commitment and support from the stakeholders like us and other partners, because we are actually part of the PPP Joint Office in Indonesia. And also, we should come up with the smart solution. And this the one above, it shows you how's the service level agreements for this kind of street lighting projects. And we can see how, in the next slide, the impact to the region. You can see the before and after, and I think this is the only photos that we have in this slide. Yeah, sorry. So we can see here the before and after condition situation. And I think more importantly for the government is the impact. Not only the outcome of having a lower electricity bill than energy consumption, but also it will decrease the criminality rate and also increase economic activity and increase also road safety. So this is actually the direct impact and benefit from the project that we already have to the region. And one thing that we can show you, they're actually having this kind of street lighting management platform. It shows you how the energy consumption and how's the performance of the street lighting, and also even interestingly, the carbon saving. So this is something that we look forward to learn more and to implement more in our projects. When I talk about the further opportunities, these are some of them. At least we bring you 6 of them here. Probably next week we are finalizing the agreement in the Lombok Regency, and some of them in Bandung City, in Denpasar, Bali, in Ngawi, next to the Madiun, Gresik, in East Java, and also the bigger one in Medan, North Sumatra. They will be implementing this kind of structure also with their street lighting infrastructure. Just to show you how I mentioned about sustainability, the way we are doing our mandate, it's also supported internally by the ESG framework, and how we actually have a dedicated division for that. This is something that we are proud of it, because we are expected to have our project, if it's supported by IGF, the project should be more sustainable in many ways. So this is something that we try to achieve. It's not complete if we're not talking about the challenges, because it's impossible if we don't have the challenges. First, of course, the limited fiscal capacity. So this is something that we always try to work with our stakeholders, not only internally within government, but also by the support of the multilaterals, bilateral agencies, and some other development partners. So this is something that we still look forward to have from our colleagues. Next is the capacity and capability enhancement. This is why we put as a predecessor, or when the project needs guarantee in their process, we oblige them to join or to participate the capacity building program. If they don't want to join, we cannot support them. So this is something that we actually try to implement the integrated approach on how to help and to assist our government partners. Next will be the quality of the readiness and on the project documentation. So it's something that we are always try to improve, because we need wider pool of investor, pool of financier, so that the competition is there and brings more value for money to the government, and also to the, and brings more attractiveness to the project players. Last but not least is the related stakeholder engagement. So this is something that, as we know, for the regional projects, not only the head of the government, head of local government, but also the local parliament that needs to be together in making decision-making to the project. So this kind of engagement is something that we are always trying to push forward together, and hopefully it brings us more chance to be successful. Last slide is the key takeaways. First, always we try to emphasize how the synergy between governments and also with the private sectors is very, very important. Because when you do public-private partnership, it's not only public to private, but also public to public and private to private. They need to work very well in those components. So this is something that we are much aware. The presence of the government support is very vital. The commitment of the GCA is also important. We have hundreds of them, so we are trying to convince them on how the needs for infrastructure and can be done through this innovative financing scheme. This is something that hopefully can bring the commitment in the long run. And our role as the fiscal tool, hopefully it can also bring some values to push it forward through PPP scheme. I think with this, I end my presentation. Thank you so much. We welcome some discussion after this. Thank you.
Well then, shall we accept some questions, or would you like to prefer to have one-on-one conversation? Okay, then do you have any questions? Yes, we have question.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. I am Engineer Albert Alimpolos from Dipolog City, Philippines. My question is about the acquisition of the private land. Do you have problem about this? Number two is, when you signed about the PPP or the government guarantee, who will sign the guarantee? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the question, and it's a very good one. The first question on the land acquisition. If you talk about the public street lighting, typically we don't have that such a problem because it typically uses government assets and public roads. But for other sectors, for instance, like toll road, the role of asset management company or agency under Ministry of Finance is very important to push it forward because it has a role like a land bank. So it is provided certain amount of funds, and the line ministries or the government, the local government who has the project is the implementer of the land acquisition, but funded through the asset management agency. So this is something that has been quite effective so far in managing the land acquisition risk. And another thing is that how our guarantee can also be part of the solution because we are guaranteeing the delay for the land acquisition. So hopefully it brings more certainty to the investors because when they want to construct, there's been confirmation that the land is there available. On the second question on who signed the contract, probably if you can go back to the slide if possible, but when you see the PPP agreement, it is signed by the head of the government contracting agency. It depends on the sector. For the regional projects, it's the head of the government, head of the local government. If it is under the line ministry, so it's the minister. Yeah. For the government guarantee, we sign the contract. So the photos that you have, that we have in the slide, it's actually the region of Madiun and our CEO. So so this triangle of agreements hopefully can enhance the project structure because as we know, we have three different kind of structure: project structure, guarantee structure, and financing structure. So this is how it works. Thank you for the question.
Okay, I think that's all the given time. So we're going to end the session here. Thank you very much.